Hello, everybody, and welcome to Select Board Roundtable. I'm Beth Cassavant, and I'm joined by my colleagues, John Samia, Michelle Conlon, and Carlos Garcia. And we are really excited to have some special guests with us today. Our show is going to have a public safety focus, and we're featuring in this segment Officer Alicia Brownell and Shrewsbury's new comfort dog, Blue. Hi, Blue. And then we're going to bring on our soon-to-be Fire Chief, Seth Colby, and I'm guessing that Blue here is going to boost our ratings, and everyone's going to be talking about our show. Part of the reason why we wanted to do this is because these are good news stories for our community. It also shows a nice connection to our strategic plan, right? Thriving, having this community-oriented public safety. I know that in 2022, the Shrewsbury Police Department hired 2 mental health clinicians, and now in 2024, bringing on their first comfort dog, and also exceptional in robust municipal services. And so we are really happy to have you here. And we just have a few questions that we're gonna just sort of have a conversation, and you can tell us about yourself and about Blue and how you came to be Blue's handler, and then we'll bring on our incoming fire chief. So I guess I'll start with the first question, which is, I see you in the community. I know a little bit about what you do because I had a daughter recently graduated from the high school, so I know that you were the resource officer there. Yes. But I don't know about your path to public service, and I'm sure people wonder about that. So maybe you could just start by introducing yourself to the community and sharing just a little bit about your path.
Yeah, so Officer Alicia Brownell. I'm currently the school resource officer at Shrewsbury High School as well as Blue's handler. I didn't originally know I wanted to be a police officer, but my brother was, and so I gained interest in that. I ended up enlisting in the Army Reserves, and throughout that time I tried to figure out a job for myself that translated the best, and that was law enforcement. So back in 2016, became a police officer for the town of Shrewsbury. So,
excellent. Yeah, that's great. Thanks. How did the decision to bring a comfort dog to Shrewsbury Police Department come about, and in what ways will Blue enhance the way you interact with the community?
I think that's just the change in time and the necessity for having her. I believe as of 2018 there were over 40, so it's definitely more than that now, have adopted a comfort dog program. And so we kind of just started by just researching it and just seeing if it was something we wanted to do. And after we did extensive research on it and wrote policies and all this stuff, we're like, definitely, this is such a great thing. It's such a great tool to have her. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What kind of dog is Blue?
She's a mini golden doodle.
Mini golden doodle. And
Yeah.
how old is she?
She's about 18 weeks. I'm doing the math correctly.
So sweet.
Yeah,
She
she's
is
like
such a
15 pounds.
sweetie.
She's a little girl.
You were saying before we started taping, you think she'll get to be about 40 pounds maybe.
So that's what we're thinking. The vet says differently, but her parents were decent sized. We were told maybe between 40 and 50 pounds, but I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah.
She'll be full grown probably like 12 months of age, so she's got some time.
She seems super calm.
She is. She just loves to be cuddled, so.
That's a perfect trait.
Good.
And she represents what the chief has talked about, 21st century policing. It's about more interaction with the community. How do you get ready for this role? What special training did you need, both not only to date to bring her on board, but going forward? What type of training will be required in order to continue to integrate her with what we're looking for her to do, as well as to get her where she is now?
Yeah, so I mean, we've started training already. She has like 4-6 weeks periods of training. Right now it's just like the AKC Star Puppy, so just like obedience training. And there's, again, 4 different segments, like the last segment being, what's the word I'm looking for? Just being around in the public,
Yep.
essentially.
Yeah.
So she gets that training, so she goes about a day a week. The rest is on me. So me and her constantly, while I'm working throughout the day, are working on training.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, on my side, I am a critical incident stress management peer support member.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the training that goes along with being certified to be a peer support member. So that was a prerequisite, and I had already had that experience. So, yeah.
And is part of the success of this as well as the development of relationship with you or with you and others, or is it very important to have as a primary resource one particular handler and then others help as needed?
So really, it's one handler just for consistency for Blue,
Yeah.
and then obviously, like she lives with me, right?
Yeah.
She lives with my son. If ever she wasn't there, it might be a sad day for him and for me. But she's here for everybody. You
Yep.
know, if any other department member felt like she needed to be utilized, like we're there. So she is for the department.
Yeah, and you see the relationship already and the bonding that's happened,
Yeah, she's my little shadow. She follows
Yeah.
me everywhere.
which will
Yeah.
be a tremendous asset for those situations to address those difficult situations, to provide calmness to the extent that you can. And
Yes.
that's going to be important, and you see it already.
Oh yeah, I'm more calm.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
I wish we had puppies at all of our meetings.
I know. I think that we need to.
What are some ways that Blue might interact with the community outside of like, incidents that you're responding to in your formal role? What are ways that people might in the community might expect to see or meet Blue?
Yeah, well, as the school resource officer at the high school, and her being with me 100% of the time, she'll obviously be up there with me and the students. So, student interaction, I'll definitely float around to all the other schools and middle schools just to be able to interact with all the other kids and professionals there. Community events, so our community night out. There's a Meet Blue event coming up. Don't ask me the date because I forgot it right now, but we'll advertise that. We have a Meet Blue event, and then our youth police academies. You know, she was in our last one. If people have seen that on social media, and she's interacts with the kids, and she has a good time. She loves it, and she's worn out by the end of the day. And we're approaching our last day of this week, so.
She's like a little person with her paws on the table,
Like,
sitting up.
It's so wonderful to have you both here, and I think the community response in introducing and welcoming Blue to our community has just been so positive. And I think, even a few years ago, having a comfort dog here in the police department would have been something that's rare, and you noted that there are over 40 police departments in Massachusetts
Massachusetts.
With a comfort dog. So what did you discover in the research that you did when we were thinking about, I guess, getting one for our own police department?
I think that comes down to what we're responding to. There's definitely been a significant increase year to year in mental health related calls, and like more notably with juveniles, and it's proven that these dogs are there to help, reduce the intimidation factor, create this calmness, reduce stress and anxiety. You mentioned our mental health clinician. She's one really valuable resource for us, and now we have her to aid in these situations. So
That's huge. That's awesome.
Since you've been an officer in town and you had COVID in the middle, what have you seen as the biggest change for you? Obviously, the police department is very forward-thinking, comfort dog with a clinician, looking at other ways to reach out to community members. But what have you seen change in the last several years in town?
in terms of like call responses in our department,
Yeah, all of that.
I would say I feel like the community initiative is just there, like our slogan, we serve better together. Like I feel like that's the biggest change. It's been all about community, our community night out. Again, our mental health clinician to aid, to better help the community, right? And to help us with those calls and those situations. And so I think based on those types of calls, like that's the biggest thing I've seen, really, community, and then the increase in the mental health related calls. So
Yeah, and what we had the opportunity to go to was the first annual awards ceremony for the police department as well, and to be able to see everything that our officers do on a daily basis, in terms of from cybersecurity all the way to standard crimes, I guess you'd say, but there's so much in between and beyond that, and the real proactive nature that our police department has sought out, interactions with the community at the junior academy that was had, I think as well, with the young kids, to really create those relationships to show how critical of a resource the police department is in any community.
yes.
Yeah.
It's good.
There has been since we've brought on the new chief, right, Chief Anderson, like he had that strategic plan for the department and wanting to be all about community policing and having that relationship with the community. And I think, he came on at a time when there were so much unrest in the world. And I'm always so proud of our Shrewsbury police force and just the way that they interact with residents. And you just always hear such positive feedback. I follow your Facebook, the Shrewsbury police department Facebook page and you see coffee with a cop at the senior center, or the fire trucks coming to and the police officers participating in a field day. There's just all sorts of ways I think that the department takes advantage of finding opportunities to build those positive connections, and I think Blue is just one more way.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, to reduce the intimidation, like you said, and make the police station and police officers seem welcoming. And
It really is. I mean, there'll be
It's
certain
fair.
situations where you're just walking and maybe someone doesn't normally approach you and want to say anything, but they see her, and now that opens up this
Yeah.
this communication, which is great. It's something that normally wouldn't happen. So
she's been a very well-mannered guest.
She's so sweet.
I'm very impressed.
didn't catch the zoomies before this, but
Oh, no, that's okay. She was running all around getting her energy out so that she could sit here politely. Will Blue go to the senior center at all and interact with seniors as well?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I went to Coffee with Cop a number of times too, so I
Yeah.
mean now I just get to bring her. So
Okay. That's great.
This is wonderful.
This has been great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us.
thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here with us. I know the community looking forward to seeing Blue every opportunity they have. This has been great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your service,
Thank
both
you.
of you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll bring back our next guest. All right, so we are back and we have with us our next guest, and it is our incoming fire chief, Seth Colby. And for those of you who may not know, after 32 years of service, 14 as chief, Jim Vone is retiring, and Seth is going to be taking over as chief effective August 1st. You've been with the department since 1997, so this should be a comfortable transition for the community, although it's a pretty big change for you, even though I know that you've been, doing a lot in the department anyway, in the role of deputy chief. And so we're just really glad to have you here and excited that you're going to be filling in that role now as chief. We'll start with just asking you to share a little bit about your background, just for residents who may not have had the opportunity to meet you.
Sure. So, he said I've been with the department since '97. I was born and raised in Shrewsbury. My parents both grew up in Shrewsbury, and so I've been here for a long time. Went to Shrewsbury High and graduated there. I guess I kind of always knew I wanted to be a firefighter. My father, as well as one of my grandfathers, was a call firefighter here in Shrewsbury. So I saw that growing up, and it was something that I was interested in. So when I graduated, I went to Worcester State because my father said you need to have another plan. If something doesn't work out, you need to have another alternative. So I was actually going to college for accounting, and I took the civil service test while I was going to college, and I managed to get up at the top of the list, and I was offered a job the summer in between my junior and senior year. So I actually withdrew over the summer, from college and took the full-time job, and then I later went back and finished up my degree. I went to Quincy and I got an associate's in fire science. Then I transferred up to Anna Maria and got a bachelor's, and later went back and got a master's in public administration. So it's been a long process, but I got to get my college done as well as get the job. So it's been great.
So you never
Great
finished
job.
the accounting.
I never finished the accounting. No.
It's quite, there's quite a difference between accounting and fire safety.
It is, but honestly now in my new role, it actually plays a big part because, well, somebody asks me what I do, I still say I'm a firefighter and I still respond to emergencies, but that's a small part of my job now. The big part is personnel management and budgeting and planning and so on. This year we're actually working on a 5-year strategic plan. That's one of this year's goals, is to get that done for FY26 moving forward. So there's actually a lot of related
Yeah,
things from those courses that I took.
it's great. It's good background. Very interesting.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say you've moved up through the ranks, so to speak. What accomplishments are you most proud of when you look back over your career?
So there's certainly a great sense of accomplishment after a call, right? fire that we do a good job on, or we're called the fire department, but we're really an all hazards department. Fires, call volume wise, fires is kind of low on the list compared to a lot of the other incidents that we do a lot more of, a lot of medical calls, motor vehicle accidents, and such. So there's certainly a great sense of accomplishment, and it's rewarding to be able to go and help somebody, whatever the call is. I think probably when I made captain, that was a very proud moment for me, and I felt like that was a really great accomplishment. And at the time, that was back in 2006. So at the time, we didn't have lieutenants, we didn't have deputy chiefs. We had one captain per shift, and we had one chief for the department, and that was it. So when I made captain, I really felt like I've made it. This might be the biggest accomplishment of my career, because obviously not everybody gets to be chief. There's only one. So yeah, I think that was very rewarding. I think, and as a captain, being able to run a shift and train the firefighters and everything, I think that's a great sense of accomplishment there. I mean, the firefighters, really, that's what the department is, right? I mean, we have 3 fire stations, we have 7 engines, a ladder truck, a rescue, and all of that. But we need the equipment to do our job, but the department really is the members, the firefighters and the officers. So to be able to train and work with them so that they can perform their job is very rewarding.
Yeah, you've been in the role for 27 years, and you represent to me what makes Shrewsbury so special, where you felt that you had the opportunities within the department continued to grow, positions became available, subject matters continued to become complex, and you stayed within the community and now have opportunity to be chief. And I remember the fire department award ceremony after COVID, and we were also talking about you face a pandemic once in 100 years, and you never knew what you were going to face, particularly in the early stages when they were talking about tens of millions of people that could die from the pandemic, yet the fire department went to every call. They never stopped. They went in as strongly as they had before, if not more so, despite the uncertainty. And we really have special public safety departments in our town. Now that August 1st is coming, you've had a lot of success and a lot of reason to be proud. How will it be different for you? I understand that's chief, but you've made significant accomplishments during your tenure so far. What will be different? How do you see August 1st? It's right around the corner. How will that be different other than just the role? How do you see that changing what you do on a daily basis?
So I've been very fortunate to have Chief Owner and work with Chief Owner for the past 5 years as his deputy. It's given me an opportunity to learn different aspects of the job. He was a great mentor to me, and he gave me a lot of freedom to be able to prepare for this job, to be able to take classes, and gave me a long leash so that I could really, at least I really had a lot of flexibility, and he was a great mentor, and he's already offered to call me anytime. He's right around the corner, so that's been great. Over the years, as my positions have changed, the job has changed, right? So when I started as a firefighter, I was working really just with the firefighters, and I'd go on calls, and that was kind of my little microcosm of a world there. Then I got promoted to captain, and I was responsible for the whole shift and the 3 stations and town-wide, while I was on duty. And then became the deputy, and that took on a role department-wide now. And it's been great. Like, as I've moved up through the ranks, it's given me more opportunity to kind of shape the future of the department and to just be broader base. So I went from working with just the firefighters to now as deputy, and then moving into the chief's role. Now I work with all the departments across the town and other agencies throughout the state, and it's been great to be able to coordinate with those departments. I think that's one thing that Shrewsbury's very fortunate about, is that all the departments, everybody works so well together. a lot of towns or some towns that aren't like that. You know, if you go to another, if one department goes to another and asks for something, they're like, that's not our problem, that's not our job. And here, everybody really pitches in and works together, which is great. So yeah, I'm really looking forward and excited to moving into the new role. I mean, the town, they shouldn't see any difference from July 31st to August 1st. They'll still have the same great, highly trained firefighters going out to respond to help them. And then, you know, like I said earlier, we're going to be working on a strategic plan, so that's going to be one of the big projects for this year. We're actually reaching out to the community now to get their input, because we want to know what they want from their fire department, right? I had mentioned before that we're really not just the fire department, we're an all hazards department. So over the years, things have evolved, and we've taken on more and more responsibilities. So we really want to hear what the members of the community think we should be providing for services. This year we've got plans for more community engagement. We've done for years, since long before I was here, we do the SAFE program in the schools, and firefighters go into all the elementary schools across town. They do a great job with that. But this year we're looking to try to broaden it out to the wider community and do more with the community as a whole. Do more stuff with seat belts. We're looking into possibly doing a CPR training for residents in town. In August, we're doing our first ever youth fire academy, which is an exciting, an exciting program. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, we're looking to see what opportunities we can have.
That's awesome, and it's wonderful to hear about your vision, really, as chief. And you know, it's great to hear you say that you've always known that you wanted to be a firefighter. I'm not sure if you've always known that you would end up being the fire chief for the town that you grew up in. So I think that that's awesome, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
You know, you mentioned that as you've climbed through the ranks, there have been more opportunities for you to serve, you know, bigger scale and you know, really be an integral part of the community and the organization. And I'm sure over the years you've seen that the town has made investments into the department, into public safety, you know, including the addition of 8 more firefighters to bring our staffing levels up. So could you just talk a bit about how those investments have changed the way the department functions?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're very fortunate in Shrewsbury. We have a very supportive town. The select board, you're great to work with, the town manager and town meeting. And I think this speaks to that, the fact that in the last 5 years, we've added eight firefighters is huge. Not only did we add 8 firefighters, but we were able to promote four firefighters that we had to lieutenants. So I had mentioned earlier that when I got promoted to captain, there was 1 captain per shift, and that was it. So we had 1 officer on duty in 3 stations, which is not a good way to do business. Not that the firefighters, you know, need supervision, but you know, it's just you didn't have a supervisor. So the captain out of headquarters would have to go on every call in order to have a supervisor there. So now that we've been able to add, we've gone from 2 firefighters on engine 2 out of station 2 and 2 firefighters at station 3 on engine 3, and now we have 2 firefighters and a lieutenant, so it's a 3-person crew, which makes a ton of difference in how we can respond. They can now respond, engine 2 or 3 can respond on their own and function without somebody having to go across town and do that. It's also given us the ability to put the captain, which is the shift commander, into a car as opposed to riding on the truck. So that gives them the flexibility to go directly from one call to a different call without having to bring the whole crew with them. It gives them the ability to go out and do some fire prevention duties and inspections without having to bring a whole fire truck, and they can break away. So it's given a lot more flexibility in that respect. But it's greatly increased the safety of the firefighters as well as the residents, and it's made for a much more efficient operation. the NFPA, which is the National Fire Protection Association, actually recommends staffing of 4 on all apparatus, and we were, prior to this, we had 2 on every apparatus. So we were just meeting half the standard, and they've done studies, and the efficiency level that goes up when you go from 2 to 3, 3 to 4 is yeah, it's tenfold that it goes up. So for us going to the 3-person crew has made a huge difference in efficiency and safety.
Probably also working conditions for the crew also in the department, right? Because it's a high stress job. You're putting your life on the line when you go to a call in some cases, and to not be fully staffed like that, I'm sure, that's another worry in the back of someone's mind, instead of, just focusing on the task at hand, knowing that you're short staffed in that way is
Yep.
also challenging. And we want to, when we bring on firefighters, we invest in their training and would like to keep them here. So I think it's always important to invest and make sure that the working conditions here don't lend themselves to people looking to make lateral moves elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're extremely fortunate that it's almost unheard of that a firefighter leaves Shrewsbury to lateral somewhere else. I think it's a few things. We're a great community to work in. They're civil service firefighters, so they're in order to get up near the top of the list, it's civil service is a statewide issues a statewide exam, but priority is given to residents. So the vast majority of the people taking the exam are Shrewsbury residents, whereas if we were a non-civil service department, we would potentially have applicants from all over the state or beyond that don't have any roots, and any ties to the town. So most of them have, they either grew up here or they have family members here, or there's a connection to the community.
That's great. Yeah. We're just about out of time. Any last questions or comments?
Thank you for everything you've done for the community. It's you mentioned, when people ask what you do, you say you're a firefighter, but you do so much more than just, fighting fires. And I grew up in a firehouse. My mom worked for the fire department growing up, and my grandfather was a firefighter and then a dispatcher when he became disabled. And so I grew up with fire, I had 30 uncles. And the job is something that there's nothing quite like it. And the work that you put in, the physical demands of it, the mental demands of it are incredible. And so we appreciate your service. Everybody in our fire department, you guys absolutely do a fantastic job, and we're very grateful for all the work that you do. And, as a select board, we were able a few months ago, a few members of the select board were able to participate in a tabletop emergency crisis exercise, and just seeing the scope of what you do is really incredible. So thank you for your service to our community, and I'm looking forward to your tenure as chief.
Well, thank you.
we
Yeah,
are-
I think it goes both ways. I think, the community, I'd like to thank the community and all of you, and the fact that several members of the select board came to that tabletop exercise was actually recognized by the state, because that was put on by MEMA, and the person doing that, when I told him that the select board members were going to be there, he was like, "Oh, that's great," because that rarely happens. So the fact that you were there doing that, and I think the fact that we're sitting here tonight outside this brand new police station, really shows the community's support for not just fire, but public safety in the community in general.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's great.
Great. Well, it has been wonderful having you with us. Thank you so much for joining us and being willing to follow the cute dog. And
I couldn't compete with that. I don't think
we need a
anybody.
firehouse dog, and then we'll have you
Right.
back on, and you can, redeem yourself, I guess. You're fabulous. You're a great guest. Thank you so much for all that you've done for our community and all that you will continue to do as you take on this new role as chief.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching. We will see you next month.